Some people smile while they're setting a trap. This one got me. Stick around, and if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. I knew I shouldn't have come to this party, but I did what I always did. Put on the suit, smiled on cue, and followed Maris through the double doors like a dog on a leash. It was her company's holiday party at the Pierre. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, that fake polished energy that always makes my skin crawl. She was in full performance mode, loud laugh, air kisses, introducing me like a fun accessory. "This is Cyrus," she said to someone near the ice sculpture. "He's the reason I get to take risks. He always catches the fallout." She laughed. So did they. I didn't say anything. Just nodded, kept the drink in my hand, counted the seconds between sips so I wouldn't look nervous. I'd done this a dozen times. Smile, shake hands, go home. Then someone in the circle made a throwaway joke about boundaries in marriage. Just some exec trying to be edgy after 3 glasses of wine. That was all the spark she needed. Maris grinned, threw her head back. "Oh, I don't believe in those," she said loud enough for the whole table to hear. "I could go out with any man I want, any night of the week, and Cyrus here still wouldn't stop me." There was a pause, then the laughter hit. I counted. 19 seconds. Not a guess. I counted everyone while my stomach dropped through the floor. I didn't react. Not on the outside. I stayed planted, drink steady, face neutral like I wasn't even there. Some people glanced away. That fast, guilty kind of look when you see a dog get kicked and pretend it's none of your business. But nobody stopped her. Across the room, Brett Halston caught my eye. That smug guy smiled like he was watching his favorite show. Like this moment was scheduled. When it died down, Maris touched my arm like I was a lamp she was repositioning. "Don't be so sensitive," she whispered, with that sugar tone she saves for public correction. On the ride home, she hummed to herself. Light, cheerful. Not a word about what happened. I drove in silence, gripping the wheel harder every mile we got closer to Tribeca. She looked out the window like she'd just won a round. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. And let's continue. I was standing in the kitchen at 6:10 sharp, making her coffee like I always did. Medium roast, oat milk, splash of vanilla. I hated how fast my hands moved. Like I wasn't even awake yet, but they were. Habit is a disease if you let it live too long. The coffee machine hissed. I grabbed my phone and opened the clip again. Someone had posted it late. Blurry angle, off-center, but clear enough. Maris smiling wide, making her little show. The crowd laughing. My face frozen. I looked like a guy who didn't even know he'd been hit yet. I didn't feel shock this time. Just heat in my neck. Cold in my chest. I texted Sloan Merritt before I could talk myself out of it. My buddy Josh used her when his ex tried to walk off with half his business. Sloan didn't blink once. Her reply came back in under 2 minutes. Today, noon. Bring paperwork. I walked to the bedroom, pulled open the drawer where I kept takeout menus, plumber contacts, all the scraps of city life. Tucked in the back was a card I'd pulled from the building board list 6 months ago. Dahlia Roque, locksmith. Emergency 24/7. Just in case. I slid it into my wallet and zipped it shut. Maris came out of the bedroom in her white robe like nothing had happened. Hair clipped up, that fake morning smile she used when she wanted something. "You got coffee?" she asked, taking the cup straight from my hand like I wasn't even attached to it. Then she started talking. "Brett's sending the documents this morning. It's simple. I just need your signature. Nothing dramatic. We're a team, right?" She said it all with her back to me, fixing her hair in the hallway mirror like she was practicing for camera time. I looked straight at her reflection. What exactly is the deal? That was all I asked. One question. She turned like she'd been slapped. Wow. Okay. So now I'm the villain. You're controlling, Cyrus. You always have been. You never trust me, and frankly, it's exhausting. You embarrassed me last night by sulking like a child. I didn't flinch. Didn't respond. I just nodded once, slow, like I was too tired to do this loop again. That's when her voice broke rhythm for a second. She wasn't used to me not pushing back. She cleared her throat and reset. "There's another thing Thursday night. Big event. I need you to come. Show up, look normal. Don't ruin my image right now, please." She didn't wait for a reply. She grabbed her bag, slipped on heels, and left the apartment like she was heading to accept an award. Door shut behind her. I stood there in the hallway for a full minute. No music. No light. Just the sound of the elevator humming on another floor. The air felt different. I walked to the kitchen, dumped her coffee down the sink, and rinsed the mug like I was erasing the last 10 years in under 10 seconds. By noon, I was sitting in a glass-walled office 10 floors up, staring at a woman who didn't blink once during my whole story. Sloan Merritt was short, sharp, and dressed like she had court at 3 and a funeral at 5. I gave her the full rundown, my inherited Tribeca loft, Maris's pressure tactics, Brett's so-called investment club, and what she pulled at the holiday party. She didn't interrupt once. When I stopped talking, she tapped her pen twice on the edge of her legal pad and said, "Don't sign a single thing that touches your inherited asset." Not one page. Not one line. She slid a printed PDF across the table. Maris had emailed me the draft that morning, labeled Non-Binding Investment Overview, which was already a red flag. Sloane read it fast, red pen in hand, slicing through the polished formatting like she'd seen this play 100 times. "It's not an investment," she said, circling a clause halfway down the second page. "This is a setup. Right here, joint commitment of collateral to secure third-party opportunity. That makes you co-liable." She flipped to the last page and underlined 2 lines in red. And this paragraph, limited power of attorney. If you sign this, you're giving her permission to move money in your name. I felt the back of my neck tighten. My jaw locked. "It's written like a brochure." "Exactly," she said. "That's how these things work. Looks clean, language soft. But underneath, it's a leash." She leaned back. "We're not going to confront them yet. You're going to play slow, not stupid. Let them think you're stalling, not resisting. Desperate people overplay their hand when they think you're not paying attention." I nodded, stood, and shook her hand. Her grip was solid. No pity in her voice, and I liked that more than anything. She handed me a blank intake form and said, "Bring me everything. Bank statements, deed copies, old emails if you've got them. Today, if possible." On the way out, I checked my voicemail and saw a missed call from Greer Holloway. She worked in compliance at Maris's company. I'd helped her younger brother get out of a bad lease situation last year, and I guess she remembered. I called back. She answered on the third ring, quiet like she was calling from a bathroom stall. "Cyrus, I have to be careful, but Brett Halston? His name's come up before. Ethics flagged him twice. Nothing stuck, but there's smoke." My stomach dropped half an inch. She kept going. "If Maris is attaching corporate money or client assets to him, that's a disaster waiting to happen." "Do you have proof?" I asked. "Not yet. But if I were you, I'd start keeping a log. Because if it blows, you'll want timestamps." She hung up fast, no goodbye. I went straight home. Hector Baines was behind the desk in the lobby, cardigan, wireframe glasses, the kind of doorman who looks like he knows your blood type just from the way you walk. "Hector," I said, keeping my voice low, "you been seeing any unusual visitors lately while I'm out?" He studied me, then nodded slowly. "You're not gonna like this, Cyrus." "Tell me anyway." "There's been a pattern. Weekdays, mid-afternoon. Not delivery guys. Not residents. Solo men. They stay maybe 40 minutes tops. I can pull exact logs if you want dates and footage." "Yeah," I said. "I want all of it." He stood up like he'd been waiting for this exact ask. Thursday night came fast. We were walking out the door to the plaza when Maris stopped me with that overly cheerful voice she used when dressing a mannequin. "Wear the navy tie with the silver dots," she said, digging it out from the back of the drawer. "And this pocket square. It sharpens the look." She held it out like it mattered more than the suit itself. I recognized the pattern, deep gray with a pale blue geometric thread. She'd called it rare when she bought it last year at some boutique in Soho. I didn't argue. I put it on. I was still playing the part. Quiet, agreeable, letting her think I was just tired and distracted. Nothing to fight with. The Plaza Ballroom was a catalog page. White lights, glassware too delicate to hold, and people already 3 drinks in but still pretending to network. Maris was in full command. Handshakes, air kisses, voice pitched just high enough to be heard without ever sounding loud. It was her stage. 10 minutes in, I saw Grant Sutter. He was standing near the floral centerpiece, sipping bourbon like he'd paid for the place. Too comfortable. Too locked into the inner circle to be a casual guest. That would have been enough. But then I saw his pocket square. Same exact one. Not similar. Not close. The same boutique pattern. Same folds. Same thread color. I looked down at my own. No doubt. He leaned in close to Maris, hand hovering near her lower back. Like he'd touched her there 100 times and was stopping himself out of respect for the setting, not me. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared long enough to be obvious. And Maris saw me see it. She didn't flinch. Didn't adjust the space between them. Just kept talking to someone else like nothing had shifted. That hit harder than any lie she could have said out loud. Brett showed up 3 minutes later. Perfect timing. Like this had been on his calendar. "Hey, we're all set on that draft," he said, not bothering with small talk. "We just need the signature by tomorrow morning. No rush, just timeline stuff. You know how these things go." He smiled like we were partners in something. Like I was on the team. I nodded slowly, eyes still on Maris and Grant. And I finally saw it. This wasn't messy infidelity. This was structured, polished, coordinated. Money games, status games, and me shoved in the middle to grease the gears. My name, my asset, my face at parties so she could look stable and clean while pulling strings behind my back. I set my drink down on the nearest tray and stepped forward, eyes locked on Maris. She glanced my way like I was interrupting a photo shoot. That was it. The last switch flipped. I felt something in me go cold. Not angry, not broken. Just clear. I stepped closer into the circle, just far enough that I didn't have to raise my voice to be heard. Not a scene, not a blow-up. Just clarity delivered with air still in my lungs. We're not together anymore. It came out steady, clean, like I'd said it 100 times in my head already. Maris blinked once, then gave a tight laugh that didn't touch her eyes. Okay, dramatic much? She said, smiling around like I was making some kind of joke. Cyrus, seriously, can we not do this here? I didn't smile. Didn't move. Grant's jaw shifted. His posture changed. Like he just realized the script had gone off track and he didn't know his next line. Brett tried to step into the silence like he owned it. Look, let's not mix business with personal, he said, hand half raised like he was the voice of reason. We all know tensions are high. Let's just get through the event, yeah? I looked right at him. I'm not signing anything. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. If you reach out to me again, it goes through my attorney. His mouth twitched like that wasn't part of his plan. He didn't argue. He didn't try to joke. He just stepped back. Maris leaned in close. I could smell her perfume, sharp, expensive, too sweet for the moment. You're going to regret humiliating me like this, she said low, words shaped like a smile but heavy as a threat. I looked her in the eye. You already did that part for me. Then I turned and walked. Didn't run. Didn't look over my shoulder. I moved through the ballroom like I just finished a meeting that didn't matter. Nobody tried to stop me. Nobody called out. A few people shifted in place, half turning, pretending they weren't watching but fully locked in. I pushed through the lobby doors and hit the cold air like it owed me something. My hands were shaking, not with nerves, just the weight of everything catching up at once. In the car, I sat for a long minute before starting it. I didn't feel brave. I felt sick, heart in my throat, stomach folding in on itself like I'd swallowed a full brick of ice. But beneath that, some weird kind of calm. Not peace, not pride, just stillness. Like the noise had finally dropped out. I pulled out my phone, opened a new message to Sloan, and typed one line. I said it out loud. Proceed. Then I hit send and sat back, eyes on the city lights outside the windshield, hands tight on the wheel, ready to move. I didn't wait for a perfect moment. I picked a night I could control. At 12:12 a.m., Dahlia Roque showed up in black work pants and a hoodie that had probably seen 100 mid-breakup calls. She didn't say much when I buzzed her up, just walked in with a worn-out toolbox and eyes that told me she'd seen every version of this story already. She glanced around the front door and muttered, "Deadbolt's not up to code. Figures." Then she got to work like it was just another Tuesday. The new lock clicked into place in under 20 minutes. Clean job, no mess. When she packed up her gear, she looked at me and said, "People like that don't believe consequences are real, not until they're locked out." 10 minutes after she left, my brother Mason pulled up in his SUV, back full of bins and folded cardboard. He didn't ask questions. He just stepped inside, opened the first bin, and said, "Where do you want to start?" We moved like a team. Bedroom first. Her clothes, shoes, bags, every item folded and sealed into boxes labeled by room and category. No slamming, no trashing. This wasn't revenge. This was evidence control. "I want it all clean," I said. "No damage, no excuses." Mason nodded. "No stories she can spin." By 1:15, we were taping shut the last wardrobe box when Wynne Caro opened her door across the hall. Silk robe, slippers, a small notebook in her hand, like she'd been waiting for a reason to make it official. She stepped into the hallway, glanced at the stacks by the elevator, then looked straight at me. "Keep it quiet. Keep it documented. Building has cameras. Timestamps matter." She flipped the notebook open and jotted something down. Wynne used to be a family court judge. She didn't need to be asked. She was already acting like she'd been called to supervise an evidence transfer. "I'm not touching anything of hers once this door closes," I said. "She'll say I broke something." Wynne nodded. "Then don't. Let her mistakes do the talking." Mason and I wheeled the final stack to the basement storage unit. No drama. Just the quiet echo of a hallway that had heard too many late-night fights and wasn't getting another one. Back upstairs, I sat at the dining table with my laptop and started building one email. One message. I didn't care about gossip. I cared about record. Family. Close friends. A couple of my coworkers who'd seen the party clip go live in real time. I attached 3 things. A still from the video. Screenshots of the power of attorney clause. A timeline of every time she pressured me to sign. No commentary. No emotion. Just facts stacked like a case file. I scheduled it for 2:22 a.m. I didn't want to argue. I wanted the truth to land before she could spin her version. Then I sat back, stared at the clock, and waited. At 2:41 a.m., and I heard the elevator ding and knew it was her. Heels hitting the hallway tile like they owned it. Phone glowing in her hand. That fast, clipped walk she used when she expected the world to move out of her way. She reached the door. Tried her key once. Click. Nothing. Tried again. Jiggled it. Pressed her shoulder into it like force would fix what intention couldn't. Her mouth moved, probably hissing under her breath. She still hadn't noticed the boxes. She stepped back and finally saw them, lined up along the wall, stacked and sealed like a professional shipping team had done it. Everyone labeled by room, taped with inventory sheets. No damage. No drama. Her eyes darted over the labels. Bedroom, bath, office, kitchen. Then came Wynne. Her door opened slow, quiet like a whisper. She stood there in a long gray robe, arms folded, notebook in one hand, phone in the other. Hair tied back. Calm like this was a neighborly errand. You can't enter a place you no longer live, she said. Maris turned, eyes wide, lips curled like she couldn't decide if she should argue or cry. This is illegal, she said. He can't just lock me out. My name is on this lease. No, Wynne said, raising her phone, already recording. Your name's not on the deed. It never was. This is his premarital asset, and I suggest you stop before you say something that helps him more than you. Maris's face twisted. You think this humiliates me? You think this little stunt wins you sympathy? I built this life. I'm the one people respect. Wynne didn't move. You used to be. Maris tried a new tactic. I'll call friends. I'll call the board. I'll drag his name through every room I walk into. Go ahead, Wynne said. They're probably reading the email right now. That's when it hit her. Maris looked down at her phone. The screen lit up. 1, 2, then 5 notifications in a row. She swiped. Scrolled. Froze. I knew exactly where she was in the thread. First, the clip. Then the signature trap screenshots. Then the timeline with dates and pressure points. Her own words in print. Sent at 2:22 a.m. to every name that mattered. She stepped back from the door and dialed. I didn't answer. She pounded on the wood. Cyrus, this is insane. You can't be serious. We need to talk. Don't make it worse. I stood behind the door, silent. She tried crying next, volume up, tone soft. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't think you'd actually do this. Then the yelling came back. Accusations. Threats. A full spin cycle, every setting in 30 seconds. Down the hallway, Hector had stepped from his station and stood by the corner, arms crossed, watching, witnessing. Maris finally stepped away, breathing hard, fists clenched, scrolling her phone like she was trying to undo a bomb detonation with her thumbs. And that's when it finally landed. She wasn't heartbroken. She wasn't even angry in the way people get when they lose something real. She was panicking, not because I left, because she lost control. At 7:30 the next morning, Hector met me in the lobby with a folded sheet of printer paper and a look like he didn't enjoy handing it over. Dates, times, camera tags, he said. I triple-checked them. I unfolded it right there. 11 separate visits. Same hours, weekday windows, solo male visitors, no delivery logs. All between noon and 4, dead center of my market hours. They came in confident, Hector said. Didn't ask where to go, just nodded and walked like they'd done it before. He gave me a second sheet. This one's for your lawyer. Names and faces if she can run them through private channels. I thanked him. He just nodded and went back to his desk. Upstairs, Wynne was waiting with a folder tucked under her arm. She didn't say a word. Just handed it to me like passing off a baton. Inside, photos, hallway notes, notations by date, short entries, precise handwriting. July 16th, visitor in suit, not Brett. 40 minutes. Door shut. August 3rd, Maris on phone in hallway, very upset. Said he's getting suspicious. October 9th, man in tan coat leaves smiling. Didn't see him arrive. She'd been logging it. Quiet. Steady. Watching it build while I slept beside a stranger. Before I could say anything, my phone buzzed. Greer. Text only. Expense discrepancies tied to Maris. Vendor linked to Brett. Looks like event cover stories. Not matching invoices. Then another message. Leadership sniffing. I'll update if this turns internal. My pulse didn't spike. Not anymore. I was beyond surprised. Just past 9, I got a message from Elodie Halston. Didn't recognize the number. Just picked up. This is Brett's wife, she said. Voice calm, low. Tired but not shaky. I saw the email. Thank you for putting the truth out. I didn't do it for thanks. I know, but I need you to know something. I waited. Brett's pitched that same investment club line to 2 other couples. Always targets someone with inherited property. Always gets close to one side of the couple, isolates the other. I saw the pattern too late. She took a breath, then delivered the one that stuck. Maris told me once you were easy to steer. Like you'd just go along if she kept things clean. That one hit hard. Not the words. The fact that they came from someone else's mouth. I thanked her and hung up. Around noon, Callum Wexler showed up at my door in a blazer and nervous energy. Maris's little brother. He looked like he'd rehearsed a speech. I'm not here for drama, he said. I'm just trying to smooth this over. She's panicking. Thought maybe I could help. I let him in, poured him a glass of water. Then I opened Wynne's folder on the counter and laid out the signature trap printouts Sloan had marked up. Callum read for about 30 seconds before his face dropped. I didn't know it was this deep, he said quietly. You didn't want to know, I said. He ran his hand through his hair. She's hidden things before. I always defended her. She's counting on you to do it again. He looked at me, then back down at the papers. If this goes to court, I'll give a statement. You have my word. I grabbed a pen and handed it to him. Write that down. By midday, her version started collapsing. The public receipts started surfacing on their own. Stories, posts, tags that couldn't be denied. No rumors, no half-claims. Just timestamps and faces she didn't expect to overlap. Keen Mercer posted a gym story from 3 weeks back. Maris was in the background, drinking a smoothie in his hoodie, tagged casually like it was normal. That was the same night she told me she was at a board dinner across town. Then Tate Yarrow dumped a folder of random throwbacks on Instagram. Maris showed up in the reflection of a wine glass at a private rooftop, laughing with a group I'd never met. She had told me she was traveling that weekend. Work retreat. Ronan Vale, a gallery director she once called a harmless donor, had her name listed on a thank you banner from a Saturday charity event in Beacon. That exact weekend, she'd said she was at her mother's lake house. 3 men, 3 lies. Same face in every scene. Same confidence. Like she never thought the timelines would collide. It wasn't just cheating. It was strategy. Rotation. Story management. And it was over. Around 1:20 p.m. My phone lit up with a blocked number. I answered on instinct. Cyrus, it's Grant. His voice was tight, unsteady, like someone who'd been rehearsing apologies but never expected to actually use them. I didn't know, he said. She told me you two were basically divorced, that you'd lost it, that you were unstable. I wouldn't have gotten involved if I thought... I cut him off. You thought I was the problem. He didn't argue, just swallowed the silence. I didn't hang up. I texted Sloane as we spoke. 5 minutes later, she had him booked for a recorded session in her office. Bring him in, she told me. Regret is sweet, but affidavits win. Grant gave his statement under oath. Explained how Maris spun a picture of a toxic marriage, how she said I'd never fight back, how Brett made it all sound like a safe, backroom opportunity. After that, it wasn't a slow chain reaction. It was a hard break. Greer texted me again. It's official. Internal review is active. Brett's vendor trail is being flagged. Maris's approvals are part of the investigation. I read it twice, then forwarded it straight to Sloane. 10 minutes later, Elodie Halston texted me. Just one line. They don't stop until someone stops them. She was right. This wasn't about love or betrayal anymore. It was about exposure and power. That afternoon, I stopped checking timestamps. The story was out. The trail was real. People were finally seeing her without the polish. Sloane locked down mediation fast. Not for my sake. The pressure was on Maris now, and everyone in the room knew it. We met in a sleek midtown office with glass walls and chairs too modern to be comfortable. Maris walked in looking like she was heading to a morning show interview, hair set, lipstick perfect, heels that announced themselves with every step. But her eyes kept darting to the folders stacked in front of Sloane. She wasn't here to fight. She was here to contain. Her lawyer started with the usual puffed-up language. We're here to reach resolution. My client acknowledges shared lifestyle assets, financial blending, and a temporary misunderstanding regarding communications. Sloane didn't even lift her head when she spoke. My client retains sole ownership of his inherited property. No joint obligations, no power of attorney, no retroactive investment language. There was no misunderstanding. There was coercion. There was misrepresentation. And we have supporting witness statements. She slid the evidence forward. The signature trap printout, Greer's audit trail flagged with notes. Screenshots of Brett's name and company conversations. Callum's written statement signed and dated. The room tightened. Maris shifted in her chair like the fabric had turned to sandpaper. Her lawyer reached for water, but Maris didn't blink. She was watching it all come down. We're not here to drag reputations, her lawyer said. We're here to resolve. We already are, Sloane said. He walks out with clean ownership. No future entanglements. And you sign a non-disclosure today. Or this moves to litigation. Greer's name hung in the air like a loaded threat. The audit trail, the vendor shell game. If Maris's company got dragged into this, she wouldn't just lose face. She'd lose the job she built her whole identity on. Maris nodded. Just once. No argument. No eye contact. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just watched the facts do their work. When the paperwork was signed and stamped, I stood up without shaking hands. I didn't look back. I walked out with my name still mine and my boundaries in writing. It felt strange, like the air wasn't something I had to brace against anymore. 1 week later, I woke up in my own place with sunlight pouring across the kitchen counter. No emails waiting, no tension hanging in the air like a held breath. I made coffee exactly how I liked it. Black, strong, no measuring. And for the first time in longer than I wanted to admit, I wasn't waiting on her mood to tell me how my day would start. I was just breathing. If this story hit you, tap hype, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Have you ever had to walk away from someone who only valued control?